And now to CBS 17 Local Matters.
Every week on CBS 17 News at 4, Russ Bowen sits down with state and local leaders to discuss issues impacting our communities. And Russ, your real focus lately has been on candidates running for U.S. Senate. And tonight's candidate made international headlines several years ago.
Yeah, Matthew Hoh is a war veteran running as a member of the Green Party. He told me part of what motivates him to run in the first place is the major decision he made back in 2009. I want to go back for folks who don't know you that well, because you're on a much larger platform as far as running for election is concerned. Right. What happened in Afghanistan that made you decide to resign your post?
Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps for 10 years. I was in the Iraq War twice. I went to Afghanistan. I've been appointed into the Foreign Service. And so I went to Afghanistan in 2009 and witnessed that the war in Afghanistan was fundamentally no different than the war in Iraq. As well as that the escalation of the war under the Obama administration was making the war worse, was that it was just going to strengthen the insurgency. I mean, putting more foreign troops into a war against foreign occupation and, as well as strengthening a corrupt, government of warlords and drug lords, it's only going to send people to the Taliban. And as well as personal issues I was going through, having been in the wars, about 5 months into my time in Afghanistan with the State Department, I resigned in protest over the escalation of the war. I see what our country has chosen to do, what it's not chosen to do, has chosen to go to war while neglecting people here at home. And I see no accountability. I think that's one of the things, Russ, that really motivates me is accountability. Where's the accountability for the people who put us into these wars and kept us there?
President Biden called the Russian leader a war criminal. President Biden also provided details of that $800 million in military and security aid for Ukraine package that's going to them.
I'm really interested in your perspective of, where we sit today. Is the United States doing enough? Have we not done enough with sanctions? Your opinion on a no-fly zone. Sure. I want to know if NATO should be more aggressive or just hold itself to the fundamentals of its own treaty and not cross that line.
The only thing I'm certain of is that this will not go the way anyone says it will, and no one will be held accountable. And I mean, what you're looking at right now, Russia has invaded, they're in the midst of occupation, people are suffering, it's horrible, it's a crime, as I said before. And what's the options being presented are to escalate it. And the one thing about war is, escalation can't be controlled. It's very clear. Anyone who tells you that they don't know what they're talking about. It's very simple. So this idea that somehow we're going to make the war bigger and that's going to somehow make it better and more controllable is absolutely, it's absurd. It's not going to work that way. So what needs to be done is real hard efforts at negotiating, finding a way to end the fighting. I mean, the ceasefire is the most important thing. As long as you have fighting going on, escalation is going to grow on its own because one side is going to do something and the other side is going to respond, which is going to get a counter response and a counter response, on and on and on and on. I mean, that's just the nature of warfare. It's one big revenge cycle. So how do you get to a point with negotiations where you have to give something up? And Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, has already said that this past week, that we understand that we're not going to get into NATO, right? I mean, so is that enough to get you to a ceasefire and then a removal of Russian troops? I have no idea why Vladimir Putin wants to be in Ukraine facing an occupation. I mean, I was in the occupations. I saw what occupation is like. There's nothing but hardship and sorrow, anger, frustration, humiliation. I mean, I took part in them. I know, and that's what Vladimir Putin. So Putin will eventually, on his own, self-destruct. It's a question of, do we want to see this war expand and worsen? And by that, of course, then, war is a breeding ground of unintended consequences.
Crude oil prices dropped below $100 a barrel.
So the question, of course, that everyone wants to know is why doesn't that translate to the gas pumps dropping lower, too?
If you go back to the 50s, you see that workers used to have pay raises. Their wages would increase every year in excess of productivity. And then something happens in the 70s, and that stops. And what it is, it's a desire to have that money, right? As productivity rises, profits go up, more revenues coming into companies, right? And so rather than that money going to workers, there's a shift, and it goes back into the companies themselves, right? It goes back into the stock market. It goes back to the banks, right? I mean, so you've seen this, and this is the result, you know, where it's not just workers aren't being reinvested in, but like the actual infrastructure of our society, whether it's private or public, is not being invested in.
You've called for an end to the war on drugs. What does that mean?
When I say end the war on drugs, I mean it. We decriminalize this, and if you are struggling with heroin addiction, methamphetamine addiction, cocaine, whatever it is, there are not going to be police officers looking to arrest you, but rather healthcare workers, social workers, substance abuse counselors who are looking to help you. I really believe that is where we have to go. I mean, I know that is, we can't even get marijuana, we can't even get medical marijuana in this state. So I know that's a great leap, but I also believe that most people agree with that sentiment, you know, and if there's nothing else to say about it, Russ, look, we're having 100,000 people die every year from opioid overdose. If that's not a declaration that the war on drugs has failed, I don't know what to tell people, right? You know?
And it is a steep climb for Hope. The Green Party is not one of the 3 political parties that's recognized by the state of North Carolina. So to get on the ballot, he has to meet a certain threshold of signatures, guys.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. All right, Russ, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, Pfizer has to recall a popular blood